Hey everybody, I wanted to put a video out. I normally respond in words on this subreddit to things that people are asking for in terms of what works or theory or just explaining things. And we can get lost in terms of the names of things because there are so many names for, or there can be multiple names for a different concept or an idea. So I want to use something that everyone knows, and something that's simple, but if we understand this concept, we can apply it to a lot of different things. So I want to use the concept of the idea of using pentatonic scales over Eyes of the World, the beginning vamp. So the beginning vamp, there's usually a little jam over at the beginning of Eyes of the World. It's right, and that's really just E major 7, I'm using shell voicings here, E major 6th, and an E major triad, right? So the top melody notes would be the 7, the 6th, and the 5 of the E major scale. 5. Simple, right? So we know that we can use the E major scale over that vamp, right? All right, and you can do that all over. You should know all of your pentatonic scales. You should know the difference between a major pentatonic and a minor, and know the difference. This will help you learn your pentatonic scales, that essentially your major pentatonic is really the same fingering as a minor pentatonic. The minor pentatonic where the root is a flat third down or three frets down. All right. Right, so you know that a C sharp pentatonic will work as well, and it's going to give us the same notes. We know what we're getting out of the pentatonic scale, or we should know that the notes that we are getting is the root, the second, the third, the fifth, the sixth, and then the root again, and then the cycle starts again, right? I mean, it's essentially spelling out a major 6, maybe add 9 chord. I don't know what the specific name is. There might be different names for it. All right, that's one way that we can do things, right? So that, you know, you could just spend your time on an E major pentatonic or a C sharp minor pentatonic, and you're gonna have great notes to play, right? Run your patterns through that. Another thing that we can do is we can play a minor pentatonic on the third note of an E major scale. So that's going to be G sharp, right? All right. Why does that work? We're getting a different set of notes that are still part of the E major scale. Let's go through what those notes are in relation to that minor pentatonic pattern that I'm talking about. So the third of the E major, the fifth of the E major, the sixth of the E major, the seventh of the E major, the second of the E major. In jazz we call that the ninth, and then back to the root of that pattern, which is again the G sharp. All right, so anywhere where you have a static E major or 6 chord, an E major chord, essentially, it's going to give you another set of notes to play. All right, and we're exploiting certain things. We're getting the 7th of the chord in there. We're getting the 9th of the chord in there again. So all those notes are what my former jazz teacher would call legal notes, right? They're all within the scale. It's not outside. It's just a different collection of notes. So first thing, well, how would you apply that? You would just basically, I would shift between the E major pentatonic and then the G sharp minor pentatonic, which could also be, as we said, we know the relationship between a minor pentatonic and a major pentatonic is they're 3 notes apart, right, from the minor root. So it's also a B major pentatonic. Let's not get into what that all means yet. It could be overwhelming, but just know that that trick will work over a static chord for the most part. Let's go a little bit deeper here. There's another one that we can use that we can exploit as well. All right, so going back to the E major scale. All right, so we've got those notes there, and we know that pretty much from all of those, we know that in those two pentatonic scales, we're hitting every note in the scale except for the fourth. That's not in either one. That A major is not in either one of those pentatonic scales, right? Because it kind of doesn't really sound that pleasing to the ear. It just kind of sounds a little out. Well, there's another note that we can use to make it sound a little in, a little out, and that's this sharp 4, and that note will sound good over that vamp. And let me tell you a simple way to go ahead and play it. You have E major, do a minor pentatonic, a half step down, right? And you're gonna get that sound right there, that sharp 4 sound. That will work over it. Let me demonstrate. Now, how would you practice that? What I would suggest would be the same thing that I just did as a demonstration in this video, which is essentially switch between the scales. Try going up an E major pentatonic, going down that G sharp minor pentatonic. Try going up that D sharp, the half note down, minor pentatonic. Work those sounds in. Try to embrace that sharp 4 sound, because it's going to give you something different. Again, what I like to think of is that collections of notes, rather than this scale works, that scale works. I'm trying to think of how things relate to things in terms of chord tones, and that might be something that's useful. You can do a number of different things, knowing those relationships that are out there too. That'll kind of get you a little out sounding. But the entire purpose is that you're playing over a static chord. You want to do some different things. Those might give you some different ideas for improvisation. All right, I stuck to one position. You should try to do it all across the neck. And a bonus points if you can do all of those pentatonic shapes in one section of the neck. Switch between all of those, and then just kind of move yourself up the neck over a vamp or something like that. I hope this is helpful, and I hope if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Maybe it's not the way that you're used to hearing it. You might have a better sense of how to describe those notes or those collections of notes, or how it functions against the E major scale that will work for you. That's great. It's the idea is, though, just to try to get those sounds into your ear, and then once you get those sounds into your ear, you should try transferring them to your guitar so that it becomes natural and second nature to you. Again, hope it was useful. If you have any comments, put them in the post below here, and I'll answer them if I see them. If you're interested in me doing another video like this over a different type of song, what to play over it, and simple things that we could play, I'd be happy to give it a shot. Again, simple. Keep things simple. Thanks, and hope you all have a good day.